morning, friends of the channel. Last tutorial before the holidays. And I already know you're out and about looking for baskets and bags. Maybe not all of you have seen the tutorials from the past few weeks, where we showed you the gift wrap, the envelope to write on together with the gift tag, the plate to give as a centerpiece, the resin decorations. We've done everything. Well, as a final touch, today, we're going to show you how we decorate these two boxes, one of which is a bit older and a younger one. These are boxes that usually contain bottles of wine. I love using recycled ones, so I don't buy new ones. If you don't have any and want to buy new ones, go ahead, but don't spend too much because it's always nice to save a bit when making this kind of gift. Or I paint a box and make it by hand, because of course it changes everything. Because the person who receives it will see the time you've spent creating something unique. So this year, let me remind you, the mood Magic Paint is give your time, because that's the most precious thing. And today, how are we giving our time? With these two boxes, one for my sister and one for my aunt. Using these beautiful prints, which are actually decoupage from the Temalì Deco line, called Christmas Toile. Why Christmas Toile? I assume it's because it's an actual toile de jouy, but with a Christmas theme, and it's really, really lovely. Because even when you get up close and see it with your own eyes, you'll notice that it has really, really, really well finished, incredibly delicate designs. It's very beautiful, and what I like most about this type of Temalì Deco paper is this, the roughness, the natural fiber that's in the paper. Obviously, a tutorial made with normal decoupage, on fabric and on rice paper, it will turn out one way. Whereas, when I show you a tutorial with this type of paper, it will be different and used in a different way. And the result will be different. So remember that every decoupage paper is different and gives a different result. These papers, in particular, are beautiful to create a vintage finish, let's say. These boxes come for that, so let's get started. One of the first tricks you should always use when applying decoupage onto a surface is to create a lighter base underneath. Why am I telling you this? Because decoupage, which is colourful and has a particular finish, will definitely look much brighter if you apply it to a lighter surface. So whether you're using it on a piece of furniture or on a box like I am today, make sure you remember this trick. Now I've given it a good stir with my can opener. A clear sand, which I'll use as a base in 2 coats, but only on the lid, because I'll paint the rest of the box in other colours. Remember, this is the ABC at home. With Magic Paint, always give the cans a good stir. Don't shake them, just stir. Brush 50, a perfect brush for all uses. Use a circular motion, because it helps you load the paint fully into the brushed reservoir. I gently brush the edges to offload a bit, and I only paint the lids. If you want to do even better and get a perfectly covered surface with little money and little effort, always use this technique, the crossed brush stroke. What does it mean? First, you apply the paint in one direction, then immediately go over it in the other direction, quickly, before it dries, and then smooth it out again. This step is very important and helps us achieve beautiful coverage more quickly. Done. Obviously, I'll apply 2 coats. When this one is dry, I'll have a lovely, clean, neutral surface, ready for decoupage. Second coat of clear sand on the lids of the boxes. We'll start by using the protective coat to help the decoupage stick, but first I'll apply a coat to the top of both boxes, so that afterwards it will absorb less. This way, I'll use less protective coat to make the decoupage adhere to the surface. I'm using the Satin protective coating, which is a great compromise. It's neither too shiny nor too matte. If you can, always apply it using crossed brush strokes. This way, you'll get an even coat. Don't forget to cover every single centimetre of the surface with the protective coating. I'm applying a generous layer of protective coating, which will help me glue the decoupage perfectly. I apply the natural fiber decoupage on the box. Don't be stingy with it, this acts as our glue. I take the first piece of decoupage and press it on. I don't want it to be perfect, I like it a bit rough around the edges. So I trim it a bit on the right and left. First, I press it down with my hands to make it stick. This way, it'll be as smooth as possible. But these natural fibers are so incredibly strong that you can easily lift and lower them several times. Now I'm removing a piece of Decoupage that I'm not using and keeping it, because I'll probably need it for another project, maybe a bookmark or a place card. I re-moisten it with the protective coating and going quite generously again, making sure to cover the area thoroughly. Don't worry, because when you apply the protective coating and the paper gets damp, you still have a moment to carefully re-moisten it if needed. Let's say to make it even smoother and more velvety. You can see I'm spreading it everywhere, nice and generously. Remember, the paper really needs to soak up the protective coating. This way, you can absolutely get it to stick completely, 100%. Again, if it's dried out a bit underneath, lift it up, apply it, and then stick it back down. Now, I won't do anything else to this box until the Decoupage is perfectly glued down. If you need to do several boxes, what I recommend is to start in the evening, do the white part and stick on the Decoupage. Then leave it overnight to let the Decoupage set. This way it smooths out and comes out perfectly. Now I'll do the black box. I'm cutting off the excess part so as not to waste it, because that too will be used for another project. I carefully tucked the piece of paper into the 2 wooden grooves, and I really like it because it's much softer and has a more vintage, classic feel. But this lovely, charming box also needs to dry really, really well at this point, so we'll leave it to rest and settle until tomorrow morning. The Decoupage is completely stuck down, 100% adhesive, and you can't see a single bubble. Now though, you need to remove the excess from the sides. And how do you do that? With an abrasive sponge. Let's say 120 grit abrasive sponge is fine, or if you don't have one, some fine sandpaper will do. And that is how you do it. For the first box, I decided to pair it with VI and Brulé. At first, I started with True Love. It seemed more suitable, but actually no, because the shade of this beautiful Decoupage is even closer to VI and Brulé, which is also a very opaque colour. Opened, the can has been stirred very well, which is essential because the components always need to be mixed 100%, and I apply it all over the box. Obviously, I'll do a bit of dry brushing afterwards because this box lends itself to a slightly country chic style. But remember, it's all up to you. It's your choice. I've stirred it, brush in hand Elizabeth, and I start applying my 2 pure coats without diluting. I continue with the black box. Let's see if I need 1 coat or more. My 2 boxes, however, will now be embellished with 2 decorations. On the black one, I'll use the trim called Lana with code TR734, while on the red box, I'll put this double decoration called Olimpo, code 366-7. Let's heat it with a heat gun. If you don't have one, use a regular hairdryer. It'll just take a bit longer. And get some with vinyl glue ready, and a small brush with a bit of water to remove any excess. If the decorations are big, I recommend using a few headless nails as well to help with the application. When it's hot, it unrolls perfectly and smoothly and can be easily molded or shaped onto any kind of surface. So now we'll apply it quickly. The longer we heat it, the longer it takes to cool down. That way we have time to place it perfectly on the box. A drop of glue on the back of the trim. I do one section at a time on the box. I start from here and apply it. I go just under the lid of the box. As I mentioned earlier, you actually don't need to worry if the glue seeps out, because you can very easily remove it without any problem, either with a small brush or a bit of water. I'll do that in a moment. Look how lovely this pattern is. It really looks like wool. Perfect for this style that we're going to reinterpret today. Now I'll fire in 2 staples with my nail gun, because that way it's quicker. Remember, if you don't have one, you just need to use a hammer and some headless nails. With a small brush and some water, I remove the drips of glue that have come out from my trim, both at the front and the back, like this. And with a microfiber cloth, I wipe away the excess water. This way it'll be nice and clean. Well, actually, it could work with this colour, but I'll definitely tone it with Nuit Parisienne and then I'll give it a bit of a sanding. Remember, the trick to making sure the trim is applied really well. First is to heat it up a lot. Because when you're doing the corner, like I am doing right now, you don't want to break it. So it's better to heat it a bit more. If you can't manage to put the glue on the cord, you can also put it on the surface, like I'm doing right now. That way you won't have any problems, and you'll always be able to get the trim to stick 100% accurately. I carry on working and finish the box. When you get to the very end, it's best if you can hardly see where the trim starts and where it ends. So I use the cutter to gently follow the shape and I cut it. Now, what do? I add one more nail. And that's how I fix it. I remove the trickle of glue and with an abrasive sponge, I shape my trim perfectly, so you won't see the beginning and the end. Once it is coloured, you won't see where it begins or where it ends. And voila! The first box now has its trim. Let's go and put the other moulding on. These ones are obviously sold as a pair. I'm telling you this because the trim can also be sold individually, whereas with the mouldings you can decide whether to buy the pair or not. In this case, they can really be placed symmetrically or not, and can be shaped to fit the surface you're interested in. Today, as well as decorating this box, I also want to show you how you can cover up a little flaw, because here you can just see the wine label underneath. Even if I had sanded it, I wouldn't have solved the problem because it wasn't on the surface, but actually embedded within the wood. So I would have had to remove far too much wood, and I didn't want to do that. So this way I can get rid of any flaws and, what's more, enrich it with this decoration. I like it because this decoration is very delicate, very fine, and it really finishes off the decoupage nicely, which, in the Toile de Jouy style, looks absolutely perfect. Now, as before, glue, a few nails, and we apply our mouldings. A few dabs of glue. I find the center, which is more or less here, and I slightly overlap the letter. Okay. First one, I try to keep it straight, since I'm doing it by hand. But if you prefer, use a ruler and take a couple of measurements. But remember, when it's handmade, it's never perfect. You have to be kind to yourself and always keep that in mind. If it's handmade, it's not perfect. I'm going to go straight onto painting the mouldings with VI and Brulé, just like before. The trim is completely attached. I've decided not to paint it 100% but to do a dry brush because I really love this woolly texture. A size 30 brush, I dip it just a little into Nuit Parisienne, only a tiny bit. I wipe off the excess on a piece of cardboard, like this, to get rid of the surplus. And with the brush just slightly dirty, I do this. I go over the beam to make it denser, giving it some tone. The result will be a light wood, slightly darkened. It's definitely a very modern result. I'm going to do the same on the other side as well. Now you need to take a microfiber pad, a gentle abrasive sponge like this one, a 120, and do this. You dampen it like this so the dust doesn't rise and the paint grain gets finer. And with the abrasive sponge, you do this. You gently and carefully bring out the beautiful wood grain of the box, which is truly the most beautiful feature of our tutorial today. Look, we're giving away a box made with our own hands, but above all, it's real wood. I remove the dust with a microfiber cloth, like this, and look how lovely the effect is. Delicate, country style, and when it dries, it'll be even more beautiful. This is the real gift, something handmade, crafted with care and with an exceptional raw material like wood, which unfortunately is becoming increasingly scarce these days. Look how truly beautiful it is when you manage to highlight everything. Just look, it's really wonderful. Of course, I do this on all sides, and naturally I do it on the red box as well. A light pickling on our ornament as well, to highlight it in a refined and elegant way. Like this. Now, with the abrasive sponge, we gently work the surface. Like that. Look how beautiful it is. It needs to be something refined, elegant, not too flashy, because today's style is very understated. We won't be using gold, nor will we use finishes that are too flashy. That's finished too. Now, the final step, protection. A box like this has become indestructible because we've applied the paint to raw wood, sanded it, and so also reinforced it, and now we'll protect it with jasmine wax. Always remember that if the jasmine wax gets scratched over the years from normal wear and tear, you have two ways to reinforce it. You can go over it again and massage it back in. Same thing for the legend aria. In this way, it becomes very protective again. Or you can also gently smooth the wax with a fine abrasive sponge. If you sand it, you won't remove it. Obviously, use a fine abrasive sponge. In fact, you'll actually reinforce it. Now I'm taking the jasmine wax and applying it as a protective layer over the whole box, so not only will it be protected, but it will also be scented. The colour changes completely when you apply the protective coating. Remember, it's important that a good protective finish is achieved with the crossed brush strokes. This way, you really get into the wood fibres, into the wood grain, and protect everything. Look how the colour changes, how it becomes richer and more vibrant, and how beautiful and shiny it gets. Let's do all the sides. And yes, I also applied over the decapé area. It doesn't do any harm. Even though, of course, it's already lovely and protected by the protective coating. But this way it'll be even shinier. Now I'm using jasmine wax on the black box. Look how the wood grain changes. And it gets nourished, becoming blacker and deeper. This black is an incredible black, because it's not a pure black. It's a black with greenish and brownish tones. But as soon as you go to protect it, it changes and becomes black. With an old t-shirt or a cotton or wool vest, make sure to rub the wax onto the box. This way, it will become beautiful, velvety and protected. With the liquid wax, I gently antique the box in two ways, both by creating a patina. Going over my moulding, this way it will be subtle, but it will gently antique it, and with a very light mottling that I'll do in a moment. I really like that this shade, this VIN Brulé colour, isn't completely solid, but is slightly marbled. In this way, with the liquid wax, we'll be able to achieve this beautiful effect. I gently lighten the molding with the cloth to remove some of the excess wax. And then before finishing, a very important touch, the speckling done with the brush. And this is how I do it. I take a bit of liquid wax with the brush. I also need a little stick, and I do this job. I gently flick in certain spots. If it's too much, I can always lighten it. In this way, I gently age the box, making it look more lived in, always tone on tone. Just a bit of antiquing, as you can see, also on the top part of our decoupage, where the light base, of course, will be noticeable, and it will make everything look even older. Obviously, I spread it everywhere first, then lighten it where I need to. This is only possible if we first apply the clear wax. You see, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lighten it very delicately so that it has a kind of antique flavour, but it's not really brown look. And now some drips. Which I'm obviously going to lighten. Voila! I also finished the black one. Don't look at the mess. I think I've conveyed the mood of our Christmas to you, which is to say, we give away our time. Here we've given useful things that will definitely be eaten at the Christmas table, with great pleasure, but above all, the time we've put in to create a box that will surely last for years to come. If you sign it on the back with the date, it's even nicer because it will be remembered even more. Remember that by now we all have everything, so at Christmas, giving our time is the most precious gift. Especially this December, which has had 5 tutorials, because there are 5 Thursdays. Now I'll finish, leaving you with the next tutorial, which will be right before Christmas, and there will be, let's say, something very different. This year we haven't been traditional. Please remember, the products you've seen in this tutorial and in all the others can be found on the website magicpaint.it, the only Italian site where you can find magic paint and also find the retailer to go to, divided by region. Not on Amazon. Goodbye.